Hi, and welcome to the Merritt Family Podcast. We blowing up. Join me and my three boys on our business journey as we trip, fall, and fumble our way trying to figure out how to grow our family business from 10 million to 100 million. And let me tell you, that ain't easy. Learn from our past mistakes and no doubt the ones that we'll be making here very soon. So, if you happen to be trying to figure it out just like we are, then follow us because we blowing up.
All right, we blowing up here. This week was a little intense to say the least. Um, let's just kind of like take a step back here for a second and what did we do? And like, I think a quick little recap of everything would be interesting to talk about right now. Um, So I think the first thing that kind of triggered like all this nonsense we've been doing this week is that Alex Hermosi margin thing. I think that's what kind of like spiraled us into trying to figure out like what we should put our time and attention to because obviously we could continue just like the same. Ooh, that's a nice little slurp there, Drew.
You like that one?
I do.
That's how you know the
Uh,
coffee's good.
That's right. um, is like looking at like the big movers that's going to take our business to the next level. Obviously, we could stay on our live chat and just keep, oh yeah, we just got to stay on live chat, but you're like always going to be on live chat. And if you don't do something that's bigger value, more than just, take answering the phone calls, that's how we're going to move this needle and we blowing up to the next level. So, um, what do you guys think of our discussion of like this, gross margin, which means just you take your sale price less the cost of the goods, not all of the operational costs. So, total sale, let's just say is $100, cost you $20 on product. That means you have a net product profit of $80.
Well, if I remember correctly on that video, he was saying that the minimum target that you want to shoot for is 80%. He said, even if I'm recollecting correctly, um, a lot of the major corporations run 99 to 100%. And so, sort of when I heard that, I was kind of mulling around in my mind. Um, it's kind of an across the board statement, and I just don't know if it's really achievable, I mean, across all industries, you know what I mean? And so I was wondering, like in our particular area, headsets and all of that, it's not known for having really high margins. So I guess what was rolling around my head was whether or not that's achievable in our particular industry.
Yeah, I agree. Just I think it's like a mental exercise because what the message is let's just say our margin, just for argument's sake, is 50%. If we could take it from 50% to 60%, that means that our net profit on the bottom line could be two or three times as much. It's not just like, oh, you make 10% more. No, it's you double your net income because you increased your gross margin by 10%. So it makes a huge difference on the bottom line. So I think it's just going through the mental exercise of saying, maybe we can't reach 80%, but could we take 50 to 55 to 60 to 65 and just start challenging yourself? Like for our business, it's like, can we offer extended warranties? Could we provide products that are higher margin, for example, and while maintaining the customer's best interest, still provide you have two products you could present. One gets you 10% margin, one gets you 80% margin, but they're the same price. So customer gets the same experience, but we get bigger margin on that side of things. So I think it's just trying to challenge ourselves to seeing if we can push that gross margin.
Yeah,
Well,
I think just having that number down, it so you're saying, you know, if we could get to 80%, and then the question then becomes how. So you just ask how, and maybe it's possible, maybe it's not possible in our specific business, but it does challenge. So you look at all the ways, like, what if we did this and what if we did that? What would that look like? And then seeing if that's even a possible way, because we could just go and say, hey, this is how the industry is. This is how it's always been. I mean, but if that was the case, like, we'd still be riding around horses. Like, we wouldn't even have cars if you just, that's how it is. That's how it's always been. It's like you need people to kind of push the envelope, challenge it, and so at least having that 80% number gives us something to shoot at, to say, well, what if we stopped doing some of this and started doing more of that? I mean, what would that look like? So I think, if nothing else, just hearing that video, it kind of helps to challenge. But the thing that's was shocking is, like, 80% is just a baseline. Like, hey, 80%, that's a good target, but, like, then let's try to get, 90, 95, 99 and all that. And it's like a paradigm shift mentally, because we're focused on 40 and 50, thinking that that's just amazing. And here, a guy like that is looking like 40 or 50, there's not going to be no money left. 80% plus is where you need to be at. So definitely challenging, but it gives a good, something good to focus on, to be as a target, and see how we can do it.
Well, the other thing he was saying is that when he looks to buy a business, that's the very, very first thing that he goes to is what's the gross margin. And if it's not 80%, he's not interested. I mean, really. Um, so I think when we kind of, sunk our teeth into that number, what it did is it forced us to start examining things to determine how it is that we might be able to reach that number. So I think it kind of caused us to kind of think a little bit more deeply on the subject than maybe what we might have done in the past.
Yeah, agreed. So what were some key takeaways, or like what is some things that we're working on to try to achieve higher margins for, we're a product-based business. So what are some of the things that we kind of are working towards implementing?
Oh man, where do we start? We've been implementing a lot of different things going on in the Slack channel the last week. Figuring out how to reduce costs, increase prices, add extended warranties, look at other brands that will actually allow us to get closer to the 80%. I mean, in this industry, especially selling commoditized products, like you're selling the same products as everybody else. How do you possibly sell 80% margins in a business where people are selling 5% margin on average, 10% if they're lucky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's asking, like, what is the value add? So it's, even though it's commoditized, so let's say that you both businesses can offer the same brand of product, the exact same headset, but one takes 2 weeks to ship. They don't have a customer support line. They're difficult to get a hold of for a return, or getting an invoice sent over, or whatever it is. And then you have another business provides the same product, but maybe they have fast shipping. Maybe they help with installation. They have support team available anytime. Different aspects to their company, that it's like, yes, you're providing the same product, but not exactly the same package. So maybe you can charge a different price because it's not exactly the same, even though the product's the same, but the full offering is different. So the tricky part is being able to communicate that clearly to a widespread audience in a way that they'll understand it. And so one of the major things that we're focusing on is control over brands, whether that's private labeling or strategic partnerships where we're the sole provider, so that we can not have a race to the bottom scenario. We can maintain the profit margin and include all of those additional values without necessarily needing to communicate that. It's just that the customer gets that built in, and then they have a great experience. So, like they order a product after seeing it and getting marketed, and then let's say they have a question. Okay, here's the 1-800 number. Call in. Oh, wow, that was a friendly person that was knowledgeable and helpful, and this is an overall great experience. So we're able to build that in without necessarily selling that as the difference maker, as long as we have control of the brand. So that is one definite key area that we're needing to focus on if we're going to meet those targets.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of things that are coming to my mind here is one thing, like if you have to provide the name brand, for example, we had talked about potentially offering something like Apple Care, where you could charge a monthly service fee for the service and then just kind of do basic service for everybody else. Obviously, there's downsides to that because then you have to provide different service levels to different customers. And right now we do it free for everybody, so it makes it easier. That was one thing, but also with the name brand stuff as well is just working on trying to figure out how to reduce our costs on those items too. So let's just say our cost is $100. Just say, hey, we'll buy 1,000 of these and try to promote this particular product, and do a bulk purchase and try to get our cost basis on those ones down, so you can get a little bit more margin that way by making these particular like agreements and initiatives and work on co-marketing dollars. So there's so many different ways to you kind of get those extra points and
Yeah.
get your way up to that
Well,
target.
that's shaving. So on the bottom, like shaving on the cost. But then let's say that, hey, you have to provide the name brand, and the market price is $150 for a specific product. So you're going to have a tough time trying to sell them for $200 or $250 each, when you can just easily type into the internet and find them for $150 from several reputable places. But what if you make a different offer, like a lease? So instead of $150, it's, I don't know, let's call it, $3 a month or $5 a month. But at the end of the 36-month lease term, you actually get $200. So you bump up by 25% overall on how much you would get for that product, just by offering a different method of acquisition for the customer that maybe a competitor is not offering. So you can cut the back end, but then also make up maybe get make up some of that margin based on a different way of acquiring it.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I think like about 10% of our business right now is flowing through that monthly reoccurring model. So not only do you have that consistent flow of income, but you also have a higher margin on those sales that you get that way. So yeah, that's a good point. I mean, one thing that we've talked about endless amounts of times, but is just staying focused on doing more of that activity. So it's, just trying to present the value in that monthly service, that it includes all the service that we do, the warranty replacements, adjustments. You'll always be working and just doing that extra value on the monthly side. So yeah, that's a really good point there.
Well,
Yeah,
the other
and
thing too is that they don't have to come up with the upfront capital in order to get the equipment, and that can be meaningful, especially if someone is looking to buy a quantity of headsets or whatnot. So the first thing, I guess, they get to preserve the upfront money. So instead, they just have a low monthly rate that doesn't change, over that period, and then you know unlike if you were to buy them outright, it's going to include, like the replacement accessories, which, it's all headsets are going to require some replacement components at some time, whether it's a battery and a wireless model. It could be some ear cushions, mic screens, different things like that. So it's kind of nice that it's all included, including the warranty, which doesn't expire during the course of the term. So it's convenient, it's affordable, and you don't have to come up with the upfront money. So I'm not pitching it here, but at the same time,
You sold us.
yeah,
I'm ready to rent.
I mean, it kind of sounds like it, but I guess in the right situation, I mean, that could be very appealing to somebody. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well,
yeah,
Dad,
so,
what you're
some
talking
people
about
don't
is
want
just
to even own it anyway. Go ahead, Drew. Sorry about that.
Dad, basically what you're talking about there, though, is just doing something different that's going to be of value to the customer or clients that you're trying to service. So obviously, that program is one thing to separate yourself. It's not going to be for
Of course.
everybody, but
Mhm.
it is another thing that's going to help you keep your margins up and create another value-added service that you can offer to customers that other people aren't doing. So what we're talking about is doing something different that not everybody's doing because we're trying to be able to have margin, to be able to employ people and give better service to customers.
One of the funny things about that is that um, a lot of times, when people understand what it is that you do, like in our case, we provide, technology products, and when people understand what exactly those technology products are, they kind of pigeonhole you. They sort of figure that, oh, you're just like everybody else. If I get it from you, it's the same if I get it from, company X or Y or Z. But the truth of the matter is that that isn't really the case because there are differences. There are some people who specialize in these products. There are some companies that are more diversified. Like let's say they primarily sell computers, but on kind of as an ancillary product, they also offer some headsets. Well, they're not really a specialist in the area. They're more of a generalist. So, I guess it depends what the customer is really looking for, what kind of experience, what kind of, expertise level and level of service for that matter that they're going to be getting from the company that they choose to buy from.
Yeah, so on the surface level, it's very hard to differentiate yourself when you blend
Yeah.
in with everybody else.
Mhm.
So how do you set yourself apart is always the thing that we're trying to come up with, which is why we're going down the road of, like Dustin, like what you were talking about is creating brands that you can control that messaging to, so that way you're not in this fight always to be like, hey, we provide great service. They're like, yeah, all of you say that.
Yeah, and even so creating the brands that helps you get more control, but then you're responsible for all of the marketing, for getting it popularized, for competing so now you're going to have to actually uh, give a compelling reason why they should choose that one over what's already known.
Mhm.
But like for example, let's say you are still just providing the commoditized type name brand stuff. Like we read a book quite a while ago called Customers for Life, and it was this Carl Sewell Cadillac, and he was providing Cadillacs like what anybody you could go, like dealerships, you can go get a Cadillac at this dealership, a Cadillac at that dealership, and the major difference was the service that they provided, and they were just like obsessed with all of these small details that just made the full experience and made a customer for life. That you just couldn't find at some of the other dealerships. And yeah, they would pay a little bit more or whatever it was, but they would never go anywhere else because of the overall package that they were receiving. So if we can do that on just apply that across our business, then that allows us to at least get closer to that margin, whether that's with our brands that we can control or the ones that we don't have as much control. We can control the service that we provide. And ultimately, um, we can hope that that will win out the customers in the long run. I understand that it's not always easy to attract them up front. They need like an experience, but if we can somehow just find more ways to provide those experiences, then they can experience the level of service and actually know the difference and say, hey, even if a product was $20 more or whatever it is, marginal difference, that they'd still want to go with us rather than shopping to bottom dollar.
Yeah,
To me, it seems like, if you want, like in our business, if you want to get to that level, boy, you're going to have to really do some thinking and some planning and some executing if you want to really give a customer sort of that wow experience. Um, really, think about it. What is it that you can really do that's going to have somebody saying, wow, I'm just willing to pay more from these guys because they're that good? Well, what does that good really mean? You know what I mean? So, I don't
Yeah,
know.
so I think in this day and age, it's like easier than it's ever been, in my opinion, to wow customers. I mean, in the past, it was expected that you would provide great service. Nowadays, even having somebody answer the phone, period, is like, wow. It is. Or even somebody that does what they say they're going to do,
Yeah?
that's rare. And it's shocking that people still continue to buy from organizations that just can't do the basics. It's like very basic because what they're trying to do is they're just involved in the race to the bottom, and they're cutting all the costs on like actually service and support. So they're cutting that's how they're going about trying to, it's like this race to the bottom, and then they've got to cut, instead of, hey, we do charge a premium, but you're going to get more. So it's kind of like uh, a a weakening of just the ability to sell, I guess. I don't know. It's shocking, but I think it's easier than it's ever been if you just go back to the fundamentals of what is good service and then just provide that. It's nothing special per se. It's just doing what everyone would expect for what good service is, like smile, thank you, answer
I,
the phone quickly.
I have a feeling, though, in your Cadillac example, I'll bet that company was doing a lot of very granular things that maybe would not be, extremely obvious. You know what I mean? Some of the smaller stuff. Uh, sending birthday cards when somebody has a birthday. I don't know. I just, different things. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
so like for example, in theirs, like if you needed service on your Cadillac, they would they would come drop off an exact model, the exact color, the exact features and all of that at your place.
hmm
And or if you needed some work, they would take the other one, they'd take care of that while you're just driving an exact the exact car that you have, and then they drop the other one off. Or if you locked your key in your car or something, they come out and they take care of that for you free of charge. Free of charge being it's built into the cost
yeah, yeah,
initially, but that's offered as well. So anyway, things like that are differentiators that just say, hey, when I'm driving this Cadillac, I just have peace of mind knowing that everything's going to be great.
sure.
yeah, agreed. Which kind of takes me to our next revolutionary thing that we kind of knew about, but we didn't really know or quantify, and that is two metrics that we've calculated now, and that's customer acquisition cost, or CAC, and you also have lifetime value, or they call LTV. Two things that we did not measure the data on, and we didn't really know what our customer acquisition cost is and the total lifetime value. So we've calculated those and are working to implement those on our dashboard so we can stay focused on them. And one thing that we found interesting is that um, a 3-to-1 ratio. So if you spend, I don't know, $100 on sales and marketing to get a new customer, a general rule of thumb is you should get about $300 in revenue for that customer to acquire that customer. And ours was like, I don't know, 10x that. So what that can tell us to do is, hey, how are we getting new customers? And how can we go deploy those tactics to continue to get more customers?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just back to like the 80% thing. It's just having these numbers, actually having um, specific metrics that you're looking to, like critical metrics, then that's just the guiding light. You see, hey, we're 10x what is considered good. Well, let's do more of that. Like, let's go in that area and keep acquiring more and more customers. How are we acquiring them? Okay, let's double down, triple down in terms of how we're doing that. Whether that's what do you need to do? Hire more outbound salespeople? Do you need to create more marketing materials? Do you need to do more advertising online? Whatever it is that you're doing that's getting those customers, it means to like do more of that, and then you'll get more ideal customers, more profit, all of that.
Yeah, and
What's
then
funny is if we were on if we were on Shark Tank, the sharks would definitely rip us for not having those numbers a long time ago.
Hmm.
So we always were
yeah,
like, well, but we don't do any advertising. Well, it's all organic. How do you have any customer acquisition costs? So it's like literally the crazy part about the world we live in now, you don't have to go to school to get all this information. Simply just go online and there's tons of people that will just give it to you for free. Literally education, free
that's right.
education.
That's right. I had to Google how to calculate customer acquisition cost.
Yeah,
And then it.
I'm in YouTube University. That's where I'm
Yeah.
at. No graduation date. Just it just continues.
Yeah, you can
Sure.
learn about anything you want.
It's funny. I think in episode one, we were talking about the fact that, we made a lot of mistakes and we're continuing to learn. And, just, I think we're kind of getting uh, a gradually increasing appreciation for having data because data kind of helps us to make better decisions and helps us to be more successful. So up to this point, I would say that we haven't had as much data as we've needed, but I think that's slowly changing, and it's good to see.
It
Well,
just
Yeah,
shows you
that
that you can be successful in spite of yourself.
Yeah,
So without
exactly.
all the perfect data, without the perfect this, the perfect that, if you just get to sales and marketing, I mean, that has pushed us, that's kept us going. If
So
I,
like the Alex,
sales, service, and marketing.
yeah, the Alex Armozy, he was talking about some stuff regarding that. So that like, and you're spot on that you can succeed in spite of yourself if you just, you have hunger and you just do. It's not even that you're doing things optimally. You just are doing things that are good things. Like some good things, you have some things right, and it can work out. But I think in like the videos, what he was talking about, there's different sizes. Like there's like 0 to 3 million, 3 million to 10, 10 plus, or something like that. And there's different, there's some like where you go from 0 to like 1, 2, 3 or whatever it is, and you can just be just hammering doors and you're just like a lone ranger just going out there or whatever. Then there's transitions that happen. And it spoke to me uh, pretty accurate. It seemed to be true to me because I kind of have seen the progression of our business, and we're needing to continue on to grow. We have to become different. Like what got us from 0 to 1 isn't what's going to get us from 10 to 100, kind of a thing. So having these CAC and LTV and all this stuff, that was just irrelevant from 0 to 1. It's more just knock, knock, knock. I've got something to talk to you about. Then things get a little bit more scientific as things expand. I mean, you have more people. You just to grow that much more, you have to look way more at numbers rather than grit your teeth and just beat the streets. It's not as simple as that after a while. That's harder, in my opinion, than just figuring out these numbers. It's just a different type of challenge, and a different way that you have to operate, I think. So that's kind of where we're at now, is just into this new realm of understanding and to get to that next level.
I think what this does for us, since we weren't keeping an eye for it, is what it's going to do is allow us to put more money into the areas that, for the customer acquisition cost, for example, is put more money into what gets us new customers, right? The customer acquisition cost. If we keep it at this level, maybe we hire another salesperson. Maybe we do more pay-per-click marketing. Maybe, as long as our customer acquisition cost is here. But then the other thing that it does is the lifetime value. Now we're starting to ask ourselves, okay, if we're at, let's just say, $1,000 lifetime value of a customer, how can we take 1,000 to 2,000? What could we do? So we provide headsets, right? Well, you could provide warranties. Well, you could provide webcams like we're doing here. Oh, what else could we do? Oh, we could sell phones. Oh, we could do XYZ. Like, there's so many more things that we can do to help customers be more value to customers while increasing the lifetime value of that customer. And then you separate the acquisition cost to the lifetime value. And then from what these people say is you're blowing up, right? That's what we're trying to do. Is that's how you take a major, so if you get a higher lifetime value, so you really work on the customer experience side of things, that's how you take it to the next level, and jumping from 10 to 20 to 30 to 50, because there's like plateaus, and we're experiencing that for ourselves kind of. So these could be big leaps when you figure out these main two metrics, and if we just stay focused on those two main ones. Obviously we could do quota, and you could do um, you know calls and dials and sales and all this stuff, but as long as we're doing the activity and staying focused on the right KPIs, I think it's going to be good things for us ahead.
Well, yeah. Also, too, with the LTV, figuring out some other things, like, for one, why do customers start with you to begin with? Like, why did they choose you? That's one. The second, like, why do they stay with you? Like, why does somebody repeat buy with you? Like, what's the reason? So why did they start? Why did they stay? And then lastly, figure out, for the ones that left, why did they leave? If we can get understanding of, like, the actual reasons for those, like, very clearly, then that could help us to be able to do more of what gets them on, do more of do more of what keeps them on, and then stop doing the things that make them leave. So then you can extend out the lifetime value, just because you keep them for longer, happier for longer.
Yeah,
I, I,
absolutely.
I would add to that, where'd they come from?
Yeah, yeah. Where'd they come from? Like, the beginning, like, why did they start? So, like, where'd they come from, and why did they ultimately decide to get on board? But yeah, like, that whole idea, just because, um, you might just be like, hey, our LTV is 5,000, and but when you become 18 months, so it's like, well, hey, organizations are in business for more than 18 months. Why did they start with us and stay with us only for 18 months? And then now they're buying somewhere else, because they're buying these products from somewhere. So what happened? So not just like on a one op, or like a one account, but just as a pattern, like, what are there patterns in why they would leave? And then maybe we can plug those holes, to be like, hey, they should stay with us forever. Like, we're doing something wrong, or someone's doing something better than us that we could do better, or something. We have to figure that out to extend that lifetime uh, value that way. So it might not even be selling higher expensive products, or even cross selling, upselling, all that stuff, which those are all good things, but just keep them longer.
That's right. So one of the things that we started this week, and things that we do, like, we go fast. Like, we go fast sometimes, and then like super slow on certain things. So, Drew, I want to have you kind of share and tell a little bit about what we created this week. Uh, so I'm I'm gonna pass it over to you here.
Yeah, so you're talking about Boomstick, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so oh my God, where do I start? This whole new marketing campaign and brand that we're gonna build is gonna be absolute madness. And the reason we're doing this is because things are really kind of boring in our industry. So we thought of something that we're gonna have to test and see if it resonates with anybody, but we're gonna be creating a brand that's gonna be revolved around sales reps or salespeople in general because salespeople value the phone. So we're gonna create this brand called Boomstick. We're booming to market to salespeople to create more fun. It's light. It's gonna be a good product overall that we can really narrow our focus in one area. So that would be the short answer without getting into all the details of
N-
Boomstick.
Not to mention that very silly.
Yeah, it's going to be more fun. It's going to be more something fun that we can work on, but there actually is a need in that area that we're going to be marketing to. So it'll be something different, something fun. I know me personally, I'm going to enjoy working on that more than just like the day-to-day operations of what we do in our business. You know, sometimes it can be um, slow and boring, but slow and boring is also sometimes how you get the best results. But this brand is going to be um, a little bit wacky.
Hey, can you share the logo so we can see it?
Yeah. Let me see if I can figure that out.
I think there's the present button at the bottom.
Uh,
Um,
Yeah, it's a marketing play, like a branding marketing play where, like how people identify with Nike, like Nike shoes, or why do they buy Nikes over Adidas? Oh, or why do they buy Apple over the Android? It's it's not just like the product exactly, because like some Nikes, what I mean, are they really that more special than some Adidas or some Asics or whatever? They're all kind of tennies and they all kind of serve the same purpose, but it's more of like an identity. Like I identify with the Just Do It, the Nike, you know, motto and all that. So in the same way, um, sales people, they could use any sort of headset that they want that would get the job done, but it's like, you know what do they identify with it? And everything out there, I don't see how you could really identify with it. There's not just a great job of branding, where Boomstick, it's definitely,
can
if
you
nothing
guys see
else, it's
it?
definitely different.
yeah.
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 Yeah, so that's a little different than everything you're gonna see available um, online. So, is it gonna resonate? Not sure, but the marketing behind it is definitely gonna be catered to salespeople, which I'm sure a
Well,
lot of the marketing stuff they see they're gonna get some good laughs.
well, you definitely got some retro colors going on there.
Exactly, it's gonna be the '90s theme. Many people can relate to that. It's different, it's unique. The boomstick logo and stuff is designed like that on purpose to be this whole '90s kind of animated-ish, retro, vintage, whatever you want to call it,
Sure.
with those colors too. I love those colors, and those were inspired by some '90s pairs of Jordans. Actually, I used to love back in the day.
Yeah, I think this just allows us to be different in the marketing and cater towards a specific audience and allows us to kind of step out of our brand from our company to a different brand that can be a little bit more edgy, that can be um, a little bit different, that can resonate more. And you do just a lot of funny content that's informational, that's helpful, and it's our idea is that this could, yeah, could is the key word here. This could just resonate and build a community of like-minded sales people that are just excited about the brand, about the community, that get help with the product, of course, but then just it's a like-minded community that would like the brand and be a part of the brand.
Yeah, and I also kind of find it. It was last night. I was watching this kind of thing on YouTube. Is like Grant Cardone. Have people have their own opinions about him and everything, but definitely known in the sales sort of space. And um, he had on a guest. It was, I think the show's called Power Players, if I'm not mistaken. He had a guest called Master P. So it's like it's
Oh
Percy
yeah.
Miller. He's like that rapper kind of
Yeah.
businessman and all this stuff. And I found it interesting because growing up in, he said he grew up in New Orleans and in like a very impoverished area, and he would eat like the ramen noodles and the little chips and whatever, like like look kind of not the best food, and the people in there, they're just needing to eat what you can eat. There's probably not um, they're not affording like all the best highest quality foods and all that stuff. Well, anyway, so now he's got these different brands. Like he has what is it called? Like instead of like Frosted Flakes, it's like Master Flakes or something. And then he's got like these ramen noodles, and on it says like so I forget what it says, but on it says uh, there's no limit to your success or something like that. And all of the things are catered to uh, give these. So he's creating a brand and generational wealth and things, and serving that to a population that he knows it consumes that stuff. But he's what he's trying to do is send a deeper message that is like, hey, you can get out of this, and giving like positive affirmations in environments that are traditionally like very negative and keeping people down. So he's trying to lift them out with these messages, and hey, like him as a vision of getting out of that and stuff. So my purpose for saying that is, say with these headsets, that anybody that's been in a sales role knows how difficult it can be, like hammering the phones and getting rejected relentlessly and all that stuff. So if you have like Boomstick in this built up community around this headset, this vital piece of equipment, but the marketing around it is like pick up the phone and start dialing, and like and all this energy and all these positive affirmations around succeeding in sales and stuff like that, then it can be one of those tools that's not just a product. It's like, hey, when I put this on, like, yeah, I'm going to get out there and do that. And there's a community of Boomstick users that are out here doing the same. And so I'm going to get out there and slug it out today. So just that little bit of extra, just something around that branding and marketing could push people actually towards being more successful, even though it's not like the product is making you more successful in any way, if that makes sense. So I don't know, I kind of think about it like that in a way. It's kind of a weird like affirmation, positive, uplifting.
I think you're spot
Go
on.
get it.
It's a
Yeah,
community. The biggest thing, there's plenty of headsets that you can go choose from. There's ones that are 500, ones that are 30, ones that are 100. It's not claiming that this is going to be a revolutionary product. It's really just building a product, like you said, Dustin, to create a community of people where it's more than just a headset for the salespeople. Anyone that's been in the trenches, cold calling and all that can relate. Now you build this community around a tool that they need to actually use to do their job. It just creates excitement. It creates community. It creates a buzz, which is super hard in this industry, and I'm sure many others that feel just really boring.
totally. Yeah, like just makes me want to give myself a boomstick and hit the phones. I'm like fired up about this whole thing. Give me one of those. Give me some merch. Give me a hoodie, a hat, and let's go. Let's get these deals done.
Well, yeah, just the nice thing about it is you can focus your marketing efforts in one way versus like, for example, like we sell headsets, right? You can sell headsets to anybody. Typically, it's like the IT manager, the IT director. Who do you talk to? So the marketing and brand behind this gives very clear focus in one direction.
Agreed. Yeah, no, I'm super excited about the brand. I'm looking forward to seeing the results and the marketing that we kind of put behind it. Obviously, we have um, a lot to do as far as the branding goes because we're going to have to do get real funky with our marketing, and we're going to
Hmm.
be doing real short form content. We're going to be doing, um, just more entertainment with a little bit of info, and just having this like, you know, karate chop, pow, like style and theme to it. So it's going to be, something much different than any of the marketing that we do, because a lot of our videos are like, professional, clean. So it'll be us trying to see if we can be successful in entertainment and media and stuff. But I'm excited about it. Excited
If
to
I'm not
see what
mistaken,
happens.
I think Drew was talking yesterday about having wigs and funky looking suits on, and I don't know, just something that's really the polar opposite of what we've been doing over the last so
Oh,
many
I'm
years.
talking all of it, Dad. I'm talking a suit. I'm talking a wig. I'm talking a gold chain that says boomstick. I'm talking all of it. And I'm saying get animated like this, get into these characters, right? It's gonna be, I guess we'll be an actor or something. I don't
Well,
know,
I
but
guess you're going to have to create a new YouTube channel, like the Boom channel or something. You
exactly.
know?
No, no,
Yeah, there's
not,
this
not, 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 not you, Dad. Not you. It's me. You are going to be getting on the channel, and you're going to be wearing the wig, the
Oh yeah.
glasses,
Well, if
the.
I'm wearing a wig, at least I'll have some hair. That'll be cool.
well, so that's the thing with there's like this sales author, what's it, Jeffrey Gitomer, or are you guys familiar with that guy?
No.
Mm-mm.
Wrote some books like the little red book of selling, and just all these different, like, he's got tons of them. And anyway, so he wrote this one in one of his books. There was like a quote that he said that said something like, um, "Hey, there's rules for everyone in the company, except for salespeople." So there is this thing about, like, there's kind of like, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or a salesperson, you're a little different than everyone else in that there's a little bit of renegade to you. There's a little bit of freewheeling and dealing and freedom and free thought and intensity and all sorts of different things that I think the brand will resonate with it. Like, so with saying, doing all these gold chains or whatever it is, and hair wigs and all these things, um, it's a little bit of salespeople are more um, on the fringes of just of the standard business conduct. They're just a bit different, and so I think that resonates more than just, hey, I'm in, whatever, HR or the accounting or whatever it is.
Agreed. Yeah, super excited about seeing what we can do with the brand, and I don't know, just try to just keep chipping away at it.
With anything, you just think of something. Does it make sense? If you can do it, give it a good try.
What do we
Simple as
say?
that. You won't know until you go give it a good try, and you have to give it a good
Well,
try long enough.
one thing for sure is we're not bashful about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we
Our,
try all we try all kinds of things. Sometimes you don't stay with them as long as we need to, but boy, we sure try a lot of things.
yeah. Yeah, that is true. We say facts over feelings is what we say. It's like, let's just put it to the test.
You can
Let's
sit there
see.
and talk all day about your feelings. Oh no, they won't like it because this, and they won't like it because that, and debate this whole entire thing. But the reality is, go give it a try, see what happens, and then, like Mr. Wonderful says, if at some point you need to take it out back and shoot it, right? I mean, at some point you need to shoot the idea, and you don't just keep going in a direction that is going to ultimately you're going to fail.
No,
So,
a lot of times we don't take it out back and shoot it. A lot of times we just let it just wither away and die on the vine. Just out of
yeah,
pure neglect.
that's right. That's how
You
we do it
know?
because we blowing up.
Yeah, of course we are.
Blowing up the idea is what we do a lot of
Yeah,
times.
yeah, we've been blowing up for almost 30 years.
That's right. Now you know who we learned from. We learned from the best.
No, actually, I think the bigger play was just winging it. And boy, we do a real good job of that. We got that down to an art form.
it's almost like counterproductive for us to do scripts or anything like that, or like, hey, like for example, on this show, we're like, okay, so what's the talking points? Oh yeah, David, go ahead and just hit play. And we're gonna go ahead and talk about what we talked about all week. Let's go ahead and do that. Sounds good, right?
I mean, I
Perfect.
like we'll probably like progress over time, but my honest feeling is like this is as raw as you're gonna get as far as what is working and going to work and what we're working on. And this is not planned and prepped. It's just what we do, and it's just a documentation of what we're doing and how we're going about it. And I got to imagine if we found a podcast of, you know, Apple or Bezos, and we kind of rewinded to the beginning of their chapter, close to the beginning of their chapter. I got to imagine that we would find that insightful. I got to imagine that we'll find some nuggets in there.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
yeah, and
this
I
is
think that
this is
anyone listening, they say if anyone's listening in on this, that they're and they're wanting to keep improving and they want to blow up, then I think people want to do what actually works, not what should work. So, for you can read in any book, oh, this is how to do it, that's how to do it. But I mean, did those people actually do it themselves? So this documentation of our journey, our thoughts, and all of that, and then what we see works and what we see doesn't, that can genuinely be helpful to people because it's stuff that we're actually doing that we can actually speak to. And in not on a surface level, there's more depth to it because it's stuff that we're actually doing. So, people that are more academic but not practitioners, it's like, you know, how passionate can you be about something if you don't really know, like, in actual practice? So, yeah, I don't, we, we do not have all the answers, that's for sure, but we're figuring some things out over time. We're
oh yeah.
getting better over time, even though it's slower than we'd like. That's for sure. But hey, maybe after the 40th year in business or something, we'll be an overnight success. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, right
But
now we're average Joe's gym at best. So, but remember in the movie, Dad, who won at the end?
Right. It was the average Joe's.
Yeah, the average Joe's with the pirate. They had the pirate, and who else you
That's
had in
right.
there?
That's right. Well, the interesting thing here is that, we started out almost 30 years ago, just basically doing old school sales, just pounding on doors, grinding your way to a new customer, to 10 to 100 to whatever. Um, and then X number of years ago, we sort of did a fundamental shift. We got away from that entirely and we started doing things more online. So, yeah, I mean, in that transition, I mean, we've had to let go of some things and we've had to embrace some other things. And we've made a lot of mistakes. We've learned a lot of things, and we've done a few things pretty well. But we have a long ways to go.
Agreed. So that'll take us to we blowing up.
We blow it up.
yeah, the core, like, so the or like the tactics and the numbers and all of these metrics and getting more scientific and more, you know, uh, like business minded in terms of like those details. Um, that's starting to be much more of an emphasis, but the foundation remains the same, is that
Mhm.
operate with the highest level of integrity, always do right by the customers, do more than you say you're going to do what you're going to say you're going to do, um, have a team that actually is an actual team, not like all these selfish individuals that are out for themselves. Just there's so many foundational pieces that will never change no matter what we do, that I still think is a part of the secret sauce, in terms of the success recipe. But this is just fine tuning it and getting more, raw data, just from more of like an analytical thing. But the core and the heart of us is not changing at all. We still, that will remain.
It's as simple as what am I doing now, and how do I improve in the future? It's constantly that. That's it. And then that's what leads you to get the data. And then, okay, now I need to look into customer acquisition costs. And oh, maybe I need to go online and research some experts in this area and just try to get better every single day.
Well, you're talking about getting better. I mean, for anybody who might be listening, a very, very good starting point is being timely about returning phone calls and emails and all the different communications, and just doing what you say you're going to do. And, try really, really hard at just providing the best customer service that you can provide. I think, Dustin, you alluded to it earlier that there's so many people today that just, they don't return phone calls, or they're very, very poor at service like that. So, I mean, as the most elementary thing you can do is be really good at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's just so many there's so many aspects to good service, but like how I teach our sales and support people is that there's an answer, and then there's answering well. So like somebody calls in, or whatever, they have a question, you could just answer the question.
Sure.
You did your job, but you didn't do your job well. You didn't go above and beyond. Going above and beyond and doing it well is answering the question, yes, but then adding on top of that any helpful and necessary things that may be beneficial for that customer to help make it easier for them. Say, hey, the answer is your product is defective. Anything else I can help you with? Maybe it would be helpful to show them how you could fix it, how you could repair it, some alternative options that you might consider, and how those maybe would prevent you from having this problem in the future. There's many different things that you can do that is above the call of duty, but that it's necessary if you want to deliver a fantastic customer experience. So, yeah, like that's one thing that irks me, is just when you just answer, just give the answer and then don't, just no more. It's like I always want the extra credit. We want to deliver extra credit constantly.
Yeah, I mean, sort of parallel with that is let's say somebody calls up and they say, "Oh, I have a problem with my product," and in your mind as the support agent, that you could potentially troubleshoot that and maybe help the customer to avoid having to buy something new. But some people will take a different path. They'll actually say, "Oh, you're really sorry to hear that. Let me show you a couple of new models that have recently come out." Now that's one way you could go, but that I don't think is really doing the job. I think it's more important is to kind of dig into it a little bit and find out, well, tell me a little bit more about that, and let me see if I can help correct the problem to help you to avoid having to buy something new. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'd love to sell you something new, but I think in this particular situation, I don't think you really need it. And, that helps to build credibility and customer loyalty and all those other things that we all want as business people.
Yeah, and that's what we do all day long. And that's one way that we retain customers and get
Sure.
people that will write reviews and all those things, is because we're doing more, we're providing extra value, and then and they're willing then to go the extra mile. Like we have hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. You can't edit those. You delete the ones you don't like, and add the ones you do, or whatever. It's just people's opinion put out there on the internet, and it just is what it is. So why were so many people compelled to go write a glowing review if they had an average experience? So to get hundreds of those positive reviews, you have to do those above and beyond actions thousands and tens of thousands of times to get the hundreds. It's not that we did that 500 times. We did that 50,000 times or whatever it was to get that level.
Sure.
So that just means that's just how we operate. And then we just need to get in front of more people and then operate that same way. And,
Sure.
and create more loyalty and just satisfied customers. So yeah, those are just the fun parts about, like, those when you come into work and you actually get those customer testimonials and people really thank you for what you're doing. Hey, I was searching all day long for stuff and you just got this done in 5 minutes. You made it so easy. Thank you. I'm so glad we found you. It just makes you feel good that you're out there, providing a good service to people. So,
Sure.
so those are good things. But yeah, then coming back, then you have to, it's like, hey, yeah, you want to help customers and do the best that you can and all that stuff and get the good feelings. But then the reality, you also have to make money. You're a business, so you got to make money. So we have to get back to this LTV and this CAC and all these things that's something else. This other thing is the trenches of, like, I just want to help the people. This is like, yeah, but we got bills to pay so you have to do both.
Yeah, for sure. All right, gents. Well, I got to go pick up my son Elijah. So we got to wrap up this pod. That's our new saying. We're going on the pod today. We blowing
Yeah.
up. That's right.
Yeah.
So we got to wrap up this podcast. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody out there got a little bit of value. If so, make sure you subscribe so you get the next episode. That's all we got for you on this one. Later.
But the question is, are we blowing up?
We blowing up.
Blowing up.
And when it comes out, go ahead and get yourself a boomstick. Go to boomstick.com. That's boomstick.com, boomstick.com. We blowing up.
Boomstickheadsets.com.
Yeah. You already got that wrong. See, our marketing is fresh. It's
Boomstickheadsets.com. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Just Google it. You'll see it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks a lot for joining us on this episode of the We Blowing Up podcast, where me and my family are on the pursuit to blowing up our small family-owned business and taking you along for the journey. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on future episodes wherever you are listening or watching. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next one.